That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, a couple of the hottest names in the industry right now are the Duffer brothers. They, of course, brought us and were behind and the masterminds behind Stranger Things that became a true pop culture phenomenon for years and years and years and years, which is also how long we've all had to wait in between seasons, years and years and years and years. We're still waiting on the final season here, but there's been a lot of talk around town last couple of months because their deal with Netflix is expiring in, I believe, April of 2026. Their deal's done. Where are they going to go? Also, there's been big news is that Paramount got taken over by Skydance, and ever since the takeover happened, they've been dropping bombs. Like they landed the Timothy Chalamet project that everybody in town has been trying to get their hands on. They announced big priorities like 15 theatrical films a year. They said they're fast tracking and prioritizing movies like Top Gun 3 and Star Trek and things like that. They've been making a lot of deals. This might be the most significant one they've done. According to Deadline, the Duffer brothers have now closed a 4-year film, TV, and streaming mega deal with Paramount once they leave Netflix. Now, I'm going to read this a little bit at length because it's pretty interesting. The new Paramount owned by Skydance has made it official that Stranger Things architects, the Duffer brothers, and their Upside Down Pictures label are officially coming over to the Melrose Avenue lot in a wide-ranging 4-year exclusive deal for, well, sort of an exclusive. We'll get to that in a second. For feature films, television, and streaming projects. We told you about the new big deal, blah, blah, blah. The big plans here for the Duffer brothers is that they now get to make movies for the big screen. Their new deal at Paramount starts at the end of their current deal with Netflix in April 2026. At the end of their Netflix deal, the Duffers will remain involved with Stranger Things and other existing properties developed over at the OTT service, which is, of course, Netflix. So it's an exclusive deal, but the things they've already got, you know, irons in the fire with, like Stranger Things, they will still be involved in that. All right. This is a big deal. Look, I have a number of ethical questions surrounding how Paramount got the FCC approval to get the Skydance takeover. But that aside, the new ownership there have been making bold, big moves right out of the gate. It was a huge deal that they got that Timothy Chalamet project because everybody in town wanted it and they were all bidding on it. They seem to have a big commitment to theatrical and now being able to come out and sign the Duffer brothers, because I know for a fact NBC Universal was trying to sign them. I know for a fact another major studio was like, they were being sought after. They had numbers being thrown at them. 4-year deal to develop television, feature films, and projects for streaming. This is huge for Paramount. I mean, it's also really big for the Duffer brothers. And let's see what they can do post Stranger Things. Like, are they a one-hit wonder with Stranger Things? Well, I mean, they were around in the business before Stranger Things, but never had anything nearly as big. So this is a huge deal, I think, for Paramount to kind of make this deal with them. Rob, how big of a deal is this?
I think it's a huge move. I mean, Hollywood traditionally, they used to give people what were called housekeeping deals at the studios, and they were obviously sought after. Richard Donner and Joel Silver, for instance, had an ongoing housekeeping deal with Warner Brothers, and it was understood that they're developing whatever their movies were going to be were Warner Brothers films. That's where we got things like everything from the Lethal Weapon movies to Conspiracy Theory, and then everything that Joel Silver was doing outside of Fox. These are not given out willy-nilly anymore. You have to be pretty special to get these kinds of deals. Now, Skydance has the money to do it. I think Skydance, David Ellison's, he's been in this business for a long time. Everyone knows he basically is the de facto financier for Paramount and has been for almost 2 decades. Now he controls the studio. Now he's become the player. He's planting his flag saying, look, I'm not here to mess around. I'm here to do what I was born to do, which is make movies and great television. And by hiring 2 of the hottest, by the way, younger talent in terms of the spectrum, I mean, these guys captured zeitgeist in a bottle.
Oh, huge.
With Stranger Things, even though they're using the 80s to do it. Where I come from, and their logo using the Stephen King font from the front of all of his 80s hardcovers was a genius move. And so I can't think of anybody better. I mean, look, there's a lot of pressure on them. When they've given housekeeping deals, when Netflix gives one to, say, somebody like Shonda Rhimes, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure there. You got to make Shonda Rhimes TV shows for us. So the Duffer Brothers have 4 years, which is not a lot of time in movie time.
No,
because
it's not.
They got to hit the ground running. So I'd imagine they have a slate, and they're not going to be content to be like waiting for approval. I would imagine that they already have a slate that they're going to throw into production fairly quickly. I would imagine, because that's why the deal's only for 4 years. It's a great deal, but it's only for 4 years, which means chop chop, boys, get to work. What do you got for me?
Well, and listen, some of these deals don't always work out.
Right.
For anybody. Benioff and Weiss signed this big exclusive deal. Nothing really came of it.
Although the three-body problem.
Yeah, I was going to say three-body problem came out. But J.J. Abrams had this big, wide-reaching thing.
Oh, Warner Brothers?
Banner, and that kind of didn't work out so well. What I think is really interesting about the 4-year deal is that 4 years is not a lot. I mean, 4 years can be the time it takes to make one movie. Like from concept to delivery. I think what's key here for Paramount is that, remember, whatever even gets created before it gets to the screen will belong to Paramount.
Yep.
So even if they just come up with the concept for like 7 great projects, those all belong to Paramount. And then they get to go with it moving forward. So
I would imagine, though, they've got stuff ready to go. They're locked and loaded.
You're right. I think they've got fully fleshed out treatments and story Bibles for a whole bunch of stuff, and they're probably ready to go.
Because Paramount had to shell out some cheddar.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Some green has flown down that river.
They've been throwing money around like crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. What a great time to be a sports fan. Basketball playoffs are on. Hockey playoffs are on. It is the perfect time to jump into the action with PrizePicks, the easiest and most fun way to turn your sports knowledge into real winnings. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made really simple. Just pick more or less on a few player projections, like points, assists, goals, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. For example, this week, I've got Jalen Brunson for more than 24.5 points, or Jason Tatum for more than 6.5 rebounds. I love how fast and easy it is to lock in a lineup in just under a minute. Plus, they've got a couple of weekly features, like, for example, Flex Friday. If your lineup doesn't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds. And every Tuesday, check out Taco Tuesday for discounted player projections up to 25% off. So download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? The minds behind Stranger Things, now that it's coming to an end Netflix, they're packing up their bags and they're leaving Netflix and they're going over to Paramount for an exclusive 4-year deal to make TV shows and movies. Big deal. What do you expect from them in the future? Or do you think maybe they're just a one-hit wonder? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.